Welcome back to Iowa Live. Lou and Jackie here, being joined by a good friend of ours, Michael Swanger, as he is going to let us know what is in the latest installment of the Iowa History Journal.
That's right. Anytime we get one of these bad boys in the mail, we say it's time to bring Michael back to the show because there's more Iowa history to learn, and we love hanging out with you, sir, and learning about all the amazing articles that you are able to provide in this wonderful piece of literature. So thank you for being here and talking a little Iowa history today.
Well, the feeling is mutual. Thanks for having me back. It's always a pleasure to see you guys. Thanks so much. So,
absolutely.
We're talking about history quite a bit, aren't we?
Yeah,
you
no
guys
question.
are great about it. So,
who's this lovely lady we're seeing right on the front cover?
we're looking at a beautiful oil canvas painted by in 1927 of Carrie Lane Chapman Catt,
Okay.
who is the women's suffrage leader.
Okay.
And just one of the most important figures in Iowa history. By the way, that cover picture, if I can add this,
Yeah.
we got from the National Portrait Gallery from the Smithsonian in
Oh,
D.C.
really?
They were kind
Wow.
enough to lend us that painting. That was painted of her in 1927.
Look at the detail.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah.
I know. It's it was a great painting, and we were very grateful to them for loaning it to us. Carrie is just a seminal figure, and really, when you think about some of the most important people in our state's history, she's right up there, if maybe not at the top of the list, right up there with Norman Borlaug and a few others.
Right.
Wow. Okay, so let's talk about her Iowa roots and why she'd be a part of the Iowa History Journal.
You bet. She was born in Wisconsin, but she moved to just outside of Charles City when
Okay.
she was 7 years old. Her childhood home is still there. It's a museum to her. It's
Really?
a great place you can visit between Memorial Day and Labor Day weekends. And so she grew up in Iowa. She graduated from high school there. She attended Iowa State University before it was Iowa State University, when it was Agriculture College.
Right.
1877. She was one of, I believe, 5 women in her class. She graduated in 3 years later with a degree, and she was not only a groundbreaking suffrage leader, but she was instrumental for property rights, wages, the rights of female students in college. There's a great story. This, by the way, kicks off our 3-part series this year. You know, every year we run a 3-part
Right.
series. We pick a special subject for that. And Jerry Harrington, an author and longtime contributor to us, who's a Mills Noun Award winner, penned this for us. Did just a fabulous job of getting his arms around a big subject like Carrie Chapman Catt. There's a newspaper clip from the early 20th century, and Carrie, before she went on to become a national figure in the work that she did for the women's suffrage movement, really started making changes immediately when she was in college. For example, some of the things that still exist at Iowa State today were things that she created for equal opportunities for female in physical education.
Oh,
for example,
okay.
there was a military program, obviously at the college, and it was all male.
Right.
When she saw that, she said, how come women can't do this too? And
Right.
so they formed Company G.
Okay.
And that's how that got started. And so her legacy is just incredible. And really, when you just step back for a moment and think about how she has affected half the global population, what she has done
Right.
with everything she's done to give women.
And look at that adorable little
equal rights.
girl. Who knew she'd grow up to be such a powerful force? And
Exactly.
we'll claim her, even if she wasn't born in Iowa, we'll claim her because she spent a bulk of her time here. But sometimes it just begs the difference of just asking the question, why? Why can't women
That's right.
be a part of this and
she
do
asked
this?
that
And she
question.
asked that
Exactly,
question.
and obviously that's been a big topic in the news the last few years, but it's nothing new. And obviously folks who are tuned into this particular issue have known this. I mean, this has been more than a century in the making, and you could go further back to that because really the suffrage movement began in the mid to late 1800s, and she was part of the second wave
Okay.
of the suffrage movement to take the baton. As a matter of fact, she, no less than Susan B. Anthony, took her under her wings and named her predecessor to the national group in New York. And so that's just how important she was, and what an amazing job she did.
Love it. So we can learn more about that cover story and that 3-part series with the following Iowa History Journals that'll be coming out.
That's right. We're
Love
going
it.
to talk about some of the things, her victories and defeats in the next issue, and then we're going to talk about the big issue, which is what the work she did to get the 19th Amendment passed.
Awesome.
Because
Wow.
I want to add 2 real quick. Next year is the 100th anniversary of the adoption of the 19th Amendment.
Okay.
But we launched the series this year because this is the the 100th anniversary of the ratification of it.
Got it.
So this is when all the states, it was proposed to the states, and this is really where it began.
Perfect.
Love
All right.
that. Yeah.
Also have a little Civil War talk.
A little bit, yes. Who would have thought that? We're talking Iowa history and the Civil War that we would be talking about it. Touching down here, there's a tiny little town in southern Iowa. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation of the name. I'm just calling it Croton. Anyway, long story short, there was a skirmish on the border across the Des Moines River. That town is about a few miles west of Fort Madison, to give you an idea where it's at. And some Confederate soldiers fired upon some Union troops, and the cannon fire landed on Iowa soil, and there was a skirmish across the river. There's a monument there to commemorate
and
when
that's
it happened.
as far north as the battle went.
It is. That's the most, exactly. Yeah, the most northernmost battle point for the war west of the Mississippi.
Okay, got it. And there were some pretty important figures that were all part of this too, right?
There were. I believe we have a photo of Colonel Moore, who led the Union troops. There's a good shot of him.
That's a good-looking dude.
Nice
yeah,
yeah.
Look at that.
He looks good today still.
Like Hollywood.
That's right. That's right. He does. Yeah, and the troops rallied on the Union side, and it was quickly squashed.
Right.
But there are some other stories too about Confederate troops coming across the border into people's homes in southern Iowa. But the big marking point was obviously this small skirmish on this one day, and they called it the Battle of Athens.
Okay, there we go.
And maybe people didn't realize it came that far north.
Exactly.
And that we were a part of it.
Who would have thought that?
And it's marked too.
It is marked,
like that.
yeah. It's nice that there's a sign there, and I believe that it's such a small town that I think just the few residents who live there, they maintain it.
That's good.
Yeah, because
That's
there's really no funding for the government there to do it.
So we talk about that. We talk about Carrie Chapman, Kat. She's in here. We talk about the Civil War, but we also talk about sporting events as well. And talking about an athlete too.
That's right. You know, we're kind of back to southern Iowa again in Centerville. Mac Gardner, the legendary horse jockey, who was just an incredible athlete, and when he retired, he was the winningest jockey, I believe, at the time. There's a beautiful shot of him on top of Cavalcade when he won the 1934 Kentucky Derby.
How about that?
He won thousands of races. I mean,
that's amazing.
He was incredible. There's the other shot of him getting his trophy, his prize for winning it that day at the Derby.
He looks pretty tall for a jockey, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does,
pretty well.
actually.
He does, doesn't he? That's right. You know, he when he won the Kentucky Derby in '34, that was 2 years before he died. He died at a young age.
Oh, no.
He was in his late 30s, and by that point, all the sports writers across the country knew about him. He was so famous. He'd been written about ad nauseum, but they were starting to write him off that he'd kind of lost his touch. Well, he took offense to that, and in '34 he bounced back and went. Of the 7 races that he competed in, he won 6 of them. Arlington, Belmont,
right.
And of course the Kentucky Derby.
That's pretty impressive.
Pretty impressive,
Yeah.
yeah. Before they were doing Triple Crown stuff, he was winning all those races.
That is cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. And to think about it, he's from Iowa, and he comes from a family that's rich in that tradition. His brothers, his father, it was in the lineage.
It was in the blood
It was in
there.
the blood.
And speaking of in the blood, a lot of people in Iowa, Jackie, have German in their blood.
Yeah.
And you also have a chance to learn a little bit about the German migration.
That's right. There was a man named Aaron Ahrens from East Friesland, Germany. It's a region of Germany who migrated here and brought some folks from his native land. And Wellsburg is one of the towns which is rich with that heritage. As you can see, there's a sign outside of the town that commemorates that, and really throughout the Midwest as well. But in particular, that area of Iowa is known for its German heritage, and it stems from this one man, and Arvid Huisman, who's been a long-time columnist for us, and is German himself. And I think it comes from part of this lineage. So he had special interest in writing that for us.
Kind of digging into his own background.
Exactly.
I love
exactly.
that. I love that. Why not? And besides talking about individuals and history that we have across the great state of Iowa, we can go up to a little bit northwest Iowa. You're covering more my neck of the woods,
right.
And Lamar's as well. So you always highlight a city and all the fun things to feature. So if you're looking for a great staycation, you need to pick this up to learn about why you might need to go visit the ice cream capital of the world.
Exactly, and that's why we do that. We encourage folks to get out. It's not just about reading it, it's about exploring it and experiencing it yourself. And what a great place to do that with all the history there. And you know, ice cream, that's just the That's a bonus to go there if you can make the trip.
Absolutely.
You could use the Iowa History Journal as your idea guide as to where to go for a little staycation.
Love that.
Exactly what
Spring break or coming up the spring or summer.
That's
Why
right.
not?
We do have a small segment in the front. We do this every year in our March-April issue where we do have a short story about places to go on spring break, because we like to encourage families to get their kids out and learn about Iowa history.
All right, we
Love
were
that.
telling people that Michael Swanger was going to be coming in, and they said they're talking about the Iowa History Journal, and the first question was, where can I get this?
Where do I go?
Their local Casey's or Hy-Vee here in Des Moines at Beaverdale Books. Really, the best way is just to go online, iowahistoryjournal.com, and subscribe. Have it delivered to your doorstep. It's much more convenient that way. Of course, we always encourage people to pick it up on the newsstands too when they can. So
That works. Wonderful. Michael, good to see you, buddy.
good seeing you too, Lou.
Thank you so much.
Exciting
Jackie.
stuff. Always
Appreciate it.
learning something new. I appreciate that.
Thank
All
you.
right, 10 minutes before 9 o'clock right now.